Every yard, every hit, every second. It's earned out here. This game demands more than just skill. It demands fuel. The right fuel. Because out here, it's not just about how hard you work. It's about how long you keep going. When the game gets real, drink bottle still.
Connor, the semifinals are set. The quarterfinals were a treat. We had a ton of really high-level football, two really close games, one not-so-close games, as we tweeted out before off the CFP account. Western's going to do what Western's going to do, and boy, did they ever. So that one we'll get to at the end. Your Ottawa GGs we'll get to in the middle. But we're going to start with the Queen's Golden Gaels and the only upset seed-wise that we saw all weekend in the OUA. Queens coming away 22-19 after playing the patient, long game. Offensively, their defense was fantastic. Connor, Queens moving on after taking out the Windsor Lancers on the road to redeem themselves for week 1.
Yeah, the Queens Gaels are moving on, and Wade, they had to scrap and claw for this one right down to the very end. They do seal the win on a beautiful 39-yard ball from Russell Weir to Logan Walton, who made a heck of a play on that one. But Windsor led right up until that play. It was all Windsor 19-14 until 5 seconds left when Queens scored that beautiful touchdown. But what do you make of this game? Because despite Queens being down, for the most part, they were playing good football. The problem was they just couldn't score. They couldn't find the end zone.
Well, I think the biggest part here, Connor, is Joey Zorn was a huge factor for Windsor, but that was the only factor for the Windsor Lancers. Okay, so listen to this. Russell Weir comes in, and I had tweeted out the third string quarterback. His dad tweeted QB2 factually. I don't know if his dad was talking more jersey number, but freaking Leo Weir, third quarterback that Queens has had to turn to this year, which is where we were coming from. But Connor, in 2 drives with this Queens offense, Russell Weir throws for more yards than the Windsor Lancers combined through all game. You have 61 yards passing in a playoff game against a defense that, you know what? Yes, they gave up a couple big runs to Joey Zorn, and the 64-yarder boosts his average. He had another one that got called back that probably would have been about 70. It helps his average a lot to have those chunk plays, but he was running well, but not well enough to dominate and carry a football game. And when you're only going to be putting up under 20 points and you're only running the football, Connor, teams are going to take advantage of it. And Queens did. Queens knew there was not really an option late for Windsor to do anything but run the football. And when they had to kill the clock and kill the time with the lead, Queens zeroed in on it. They got the stops they needed. They got the ball back for their offense. And Russell Weir and Logan Walton, the freshman from the East Coast. I mean, Russell puts it out. Walton just says, "Ooh, that's my ball, thank you," and snatches it in front of the high player for Windsor. Magic for Queens, but more a story of patience, resilience, toughness, and just being well-rounded as a team and whole.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I do want to take a second and just give some credit where credit is due here with the Windsor Lancers defense, because for the better half of this game, they played really dang well. They had 6 sacks in this game, 8 total TFLs. They were all over the field. They had 53 tackles, 5 breakups. They came away with a fumble recovery in this game too. They were doing pretty much dang near everything that they needed to do. But to go back to your point about the Windsor offense, I think had they been able to find a way to put 3 or 7 would have been huge on the board here in the fourth quarter. That could have been the difference between moving on and not in this one. But I did think Windsor's defense played really well. Right up until the final buzzer, Queens just made a heck of a play on the touchdown to win it there. They laced that one into double coverage. It was a hell of a throw. The bracket coverage was there. They had a man over top. They had a man underneath, but we are just found the spot, and Queens is moving on because of it.
Yeah, and I do want to say, like, there were times for Windsor to put this one away, like you'd mentioned. There was times for Queens to really jump in this one, and I think Nathan Falcone before the half was the big one. Like, he drops the
Hmm.
dig route over the middle. Just Leo thought he was going to settle it in the zone. Falcone took it a couple steps too far and had to end up like sliding to come back for it. But a lot of pivotal, like, small plays that you wouldn't count up right away, but towards the end, like, I know I was sitting there going, "Ooh, Queens, like, are you sure you're going to punt this ball and play the field position game now? Like, there's not too much time left. Are you sure your offense is going to get another chance?" And then, sure enough, they punt it. Matt Driver, this tall punter that they've got this year, first year punting for the team. Connor, he
Hmm.
has been fantastic, and he had a great day, a 41-yard average, two inside the 20. Um, he punted well in a really windy day. It was windy across the OUA. I thought he played phenomenal in his first bit of postseason action, and shout out to the punter for doing so. But um, nobody is bigger than the program, right? That's the team, the buy-in, everything that Coach Steve Schneider wants with this Queens Gaels, and everyone was about it. They were about playing this tough game of one another and trusting that, you know what, we're going to punt the ball because our defense is good enough to get it back for us. And the defense gets the ball back and says, "Go win it for us, offense." Like, find the end zone finally today, and exciting to see this Queens team move on. But certainly a big question mark for Windsor is going to be the development of this offense during the postseason.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But we are going to leave that for the offseason because we have two more games to get to here. We're going to go to Guelph hosting the Ottawa GGs, and the Guelph Griffins coming away with a 26-15 win. And boy, was that offense ever electric in this playoff matchup.
Connor, were you getting really hopeful for the third quarter here, like watching Ottawa kind of make a comeback at all? Like,
I
tell me
I
about this one.
was I was I was a little bit Ottawa in this, both teams in this one I thought, played really really good football. I think Ottawa's offense, I think Josh Jansen here would have liked to have been a little bit more efficient in his day. Going 19 of 31, the two interceptions. Charles Aslan had 65 yards on the ground. They were able to pick their spots, and it did look like they were gonna mount a comeback towards the third quarter in this one. But I think Guelph just controlled this game really, really well. Their offense was on the field, it seemed like, all the time, 354 yards. They had 30 minutes of possession in this one. So, I mean, I think Guelph's offense was just able to grind down Ottawa, was able to on defensively. I think Guelph was able to overwhelm Ottawa, was really the word that comes to mind. If I have to sum it up with kind of one buzzword here, I think Guelph's defense was really able to kind of starve and overwhelm the Ottawa attack.
Yeah, and I mean, Connor, when we look at this Guelph team, we've talked about the rushing attack. Everyone knows it's going to happen. And Malloy, Sargent, Kane Stevenson had a couple. Of course, Marshall McCray on the goal line with just like the run right to the official hand in the football and keep going because you've done it 1,000 times this season. You knew that was where they were going to attack. And when we got the depth charts on Friday, um, I started saying to myself, I think I texted you, like, Guelph's whole O line is healthy. They are ready to go. They're rested. This is going to be a pound the rock kind of game. And with the wind, like we talked about in Windsor and Guelph and Western, Abood 8 of 16, but didn't really need to do a whole lot because they're just crushing away at the ground game. Sargent 11 again, Donovan Malloy 8 again. Like, they both had big carries, and um I do want to say this huge differential that was the interceptions. I understand the Kyle Simon Guerin one came at the very end of the game, but Mortuzo's pick
Mhm.
was all over the place, and he himself was all over the place. I think there was one series where he had a TFL and a PBU back-to-back plays. Like, it was such a good showcase for this Guelph defense. to, we're playing against a really young, really talented, really explosive Ottawa team, and we're going to match them stride for stride. We're going to make the same amount of plays. So our offense can just manage it over there. They don't have to be superstars, and we can still be productive.
Yeah, man, I was really impressed. I think with the playmakers from Guelph in this one, specifically in the run game. 8 yards of carry on the ground is absolutely insane to me. And you said it. We knew they were gonna run the ball, but when you're doing so that efficiently, it really takes the air out of the opposing defense, because then Ottawa's defense was forced to be on the field forever. And by no means did they have a terrible day or anything. I think they were doing some things well. They were getting into the backfield. They were breaking up passes. But when Guelph's offense is just driving down the field and playing smash mouth football, and seemingly carrying for a first down every time they run the rock, that makes it pretty hard to defend. That leaves your defense on the field forever, as I was saying. Guelph, I think, despite the score, despite the little bit of the scare, the comeback scare from Ottawa in this one, Guelph was super impressive. And I don't want to look too far ahead here, but I do think, and you texted me, and I wasn't sure, but I've thought about this a little bit more, and I do think heading into this playoff matchup against the Western Mustangs, they are going to match up well. But I think we can leave that for later this week. What do you think?
Absolutely. And one thing I do want to say, Connor, like the Ottawa defense did their job for the most part, like you talked about. Holding Tristan Aboud under 100 yards and the 50% completions is no task to just kind of scoff at. Um, they got worn down towards the end, but you're right. Guelph had complete control in this one. I think we can shift though to a team that had complete control from snap one until the very end of the game.
Okay, wait, I got something for you here. I got something for you here. So I had tweeted out, and I think you saw it, but I had tweeted out before this one started that Mac was allowing an average of 172.5 rush yards over their last two games of the regular season, and that I felt that Western was going to have an opportunity to run a little bit wild in this one.
Did
They
they?
did. They did. 360 rushing yards total in this one for the Western Mustangs, 630 yards of total offense. You talk about total control. The Western Mustangs were all over the field in this one. It was a 36-10 first half for the Western Mustangs. Came out with 10 more in the second half, and their defense blanked the McMaster Marauders in the second half of this ball game.
Connor, okay, a couple things here. One, Jerome Rancor continuing the stretch with
Yeah.
these short yardage QBs. I know I was tweeting off the CFP account, long live the short yardage quarterbacks. After Rancor scores a couple, McRae's in one, and then of course Russell Weir coming in and throwing the touchdown at the end. These short yardage quarterbacks have been on a tear, and I'm here for it. But the big thing with me is Yazbek has not had the volume of carries that we've had to see from these other running backs this year. He's fresh
He's
and
doing
he is
damage too.
explosive. And while other defenses are getting worn down this point in the year, Keon Edwards is relieving him and taking some carries off the shoulders, but this is a
Yep.
Yazbek show now. Don't get it twisted. He is the workhorse. He is everything they're hoping that Ed Winati was going to turn into. Yazbek and Edwards are great, like what your Detroit Lions have, Knuckles and Sonic. It feels like the same kind of build here with Yazbek, but he's got that power in him too to break those tackles. So really, really glad to see those guys get going. Of course, Evan Hillock having a high productive day, but Dasani McIntosh the first year, 82 yards, 6 receptions, tied with Mo Jamal for most catches in the game. So excited for Western. This defense should be pumped up, Connor. Of course, Soren Hallschmidt, 3.5 sacks. Welcome to the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely huge day. Absolutely huge day for him. Huge day for the Western Mustangs defense, who finished with 5 sacks in this one. Secondary was all over the place with 4 PBUs. The one thing though, Wade, that I really do want to, and they did add an interception. Sorry, I can't leave that out there. The the interception on the day. But the one thing that I really want to see Western clean up, and there's not much, but Wade, 10 penalties for 233 yards. And it's okay in this one because they were up so big and they were in total control. And I don't want to say it's okay. I don't like seeing 10 for 23 or 220 or 10 for 233. But that's an area I would like to see them clean up. As the penalty yardage there, because as you run deeper into the playoffs, coming up against a team like Guelph, who has a very good defense, very good offense, they can make you pay. Against a team like Laurier, they could certainly make you pay as well. So I think maybe cleaning up those penalty yards moving into next week is my tip for improvement here. Tip for improvement, as if I'm some guy not sitting here just loving football, but my thing that I would like to see improved.
Well, Connor, one thing that is certainly being improved in the OUA as we wrap this up is our level of hydration. Okay, BioSteel is redefining sports hydration, and as the official hydration partner of the OUA, they're supporting the next generation of Canadian athletes. Their zero sugar, high quality products help athletes perform at their best. I just picked up some from Costco. You can pick up some from a ton of different stores in your area, but check out biosteel.ca/OUA for more info on this wonderful partnership. And Connor, with that, I think that's it. We are coming back later in the week with a guest from the Laurier Golden Hawks who are well rested. But we're going to break down the last 2 games. Connor, we only have 3 OUA football games left in the season. It's coming to a close.
Exciting times. Exciting times. It's bittersweet. We love to see it come to a close, but that means we don't get OUA football anymore. But we are certainly excited that we still get a little bit more to talk about. Shout out to the peach flavor of BioSteel. It is delicious. Go pick yourself up some. As Wade said, we will be back later this week to tee up these matchups, and we have a great guest, so stay tuned for that.